Thank you, Olivier.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's start. So, as Olivier said, I will talk today about the new process that we put in place to handle vulnerabilities in the DPDK project. So, as you know, DPDK is a sensitive piece of software. So it is heavily used and more used in telco infra or public cloud. Sometimes it has some interfaces that are exposed to untrusted source, like an example I know is Viost user that can be exposed through its varying to untrusted guests. But until recently, we didn't have any process put in place to handle security vulnerabilities when it arrived. For example, the reporter would wonder who to contact when it happens, when he finds something. Then the maintainers could wonder whether it is really a vulnerability or if it is just a bug. And then when it's time to fix it and review it, they didn't know either who should do that. We had one case last year, one TV in Viost. So we managed to get it fixed, but without process. And based on this experience, the tech board decided that we should put one in place. We didn't start from scratch. We inspired a lot from the OVS and FIDO ones, and others also. When the first draft was ready, we made it reviewed by the security team of DPDK members companies like Mellanox, Red Hat, or Intel. And finally, we made the process voted by the tech board. So the full process is available on dpdk.org. You can have a look. So the first step is reporting a vulnerability. For this, we have put in place a simple page on DPDK main page that provides basic information to submit to report a vulnerability. The first thing to do is to not use Bugzilla and file a BZ, because it would be made public immediately. Instead, you have to send an email to security@dpdk.org. And this email should be encrypted, and encrypted with the keys of Thomas and Ferru, who are the security team members. Even if you're not sure the bug you found is a vulnerability, consider it is one and follow the process. It is better to be overcautious than being sorry. So when you report a vulnerability, you should provide some information. So basically all the technical information that could be useful to understand the issue. If you have one, a reproducer is welcome. And it is not mandatory, but if you have done the fix, just attach it to the report. You can also provide some non-technical information, like how you want to be credited. Some people don't want to be credited, or it was found by your team, and multiple people should be credited for that. And if you have any preference on the embargo, so for example, if you want that the embargo does not last more than two months or 2 weeks, or so you should specify that in the report, and it will be negotiated later with the security team. So on reception of the report, the security team reviews the report, and it may involve some experts of the different areas, typically maintainers or regular contributors, to assess whether it is a vulnerability or not. So if it is not a vulnerability, the security team will just ask the reporter to report it using the usual channels like Bugzilla, or just send the fix directly to the mailing list. However, if it is confirmed, the security team will check which versions of DPDK are affected, reserve a Bugzilla ID that will be used later for the security advisory. It will calculate also the security score using the CVSS calculator, and negotiate the embargo with the reporter. So all this should be done in less than 3 business days, and the confirmation email will be sent to the reporter. So to request a CVE, as DPDK project is not a CVE numbering authority, it has to request one to a CNA. We decided to use Red Hat for now, which is a commonly used CNA for open source project. However, the tech board has made a request to the Linux Foundation to become a CNA. So when the security team requests the CVE, it sends all the information using a predefined template to the CNA. So the fix, if it was not done by the reporter, will be started at the same time as the CVE is requested. Again, the security team may involve maintainers or other experts of the area, of the impacted area. And when the fix is done and reviewed in this small cycle, the backports are also prepared for the stable versions that are impacted. So when the fix is ready, and usually 1 week prior to the end of the embargo, the security team will send a pre-release disclosure email to a dedicated mailing list. So the idea is that the downstream stakeholder, so either OS vendors or companies integrating DPDK in their product, can be made aware 1 week before the end of the embargo that a vulnerability has been found, and so they will receive the security advisory with the patch attached. So to apply to this mailing list, it is not automatic. You have to make, as a company, to make the request to the DPDK tech board. And finally, the public disclosure. So it means it is the end of the embargo. All the patches are pushed to the different master and stable branch. New tags, minor releases are created for the LTSs. And the security advisory is published on the previously reserved Bugzilla ID. A mail is sent to the security advisory is sent to announce mailing list, and the patch are posted afterwards to the development mailing list. So at this stage, if other people can review it and make other change, we could still apply fix on top of it. So that's it for the process. So have you seen? It is important that everyone, the developer and the maintainers, have a GPG key available. So for the maintainers, especially when we find a vulnerability, if we have to involve these people in implementing the fix or to assess whether it is a vulnerability, all the emails are encrypted. So that's it. Do you have any questions or comments?
Okay, no question, so maybe I can ask one. How many companies are already registered to this pre-release disclosure mailing list? How many companies are interested to know which security fix they will have to deploy? How many companies are interested to take care of their users? No, because...
One at a time.
Maxime, please answer. How many companies?
So we are two or three companies that registered to the...
Two? Two companies. So that's a good news. It means probably DPDK is not so well deployed, so we have less pressure.
Yeah, but maybe we did not advertise this enough.
Or maybe the other reason is that our integrator don't care the user. I don't know. Or maybe the last solution is that we don't communicate so well on it. So that's an opportunity to talk again about it. I hope you understand that's very important. So please, next week, make sure that all your customers are registered. Thank you.
So last year, how many CVE have we found? And
so officially we had one, but it seems that if you check the Git logs, there is a single one, and that's why putting in place a formal process will help to be sure that everyone is aware that fixes of vulnerabilities are integrated in stable releases, I think.
Should we have a key signing event? In the community, does it have any value?
So I just asked Luca, but yeah, maybe the most important thing for now is to create the keys. For the signing, if we have time, we can try. And
The most important thing is creating a key and then uploading it to the keys.openpgp.org key server. Signing doesn't matter anymore. It's broken, it's dead.
Okay. So the question was how many releases we... Yeah. So the process says that we only backport the fixes on maintained stable releases. So to LTSS. But if you are a company using older version and you want to maintain it by yourself, you can still be notified there is a vulnerability and assess whether it impacts your version or not.
Also for distros like Debian, where an older EOL release is still supported, that's where we will fix it. Now, whether we do that in the community, probably, or only in Debian, that's the question. But
yeah, so upstream, we will work only on the maintain branch, but downstream, it depends on the packager. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
So the next talk is about LTS releases, and it will be presented by Luca Boccassi from Microsoft and by Kevin Trainor from Red Hat in 1 minute.